with the younger dating scene. We have a lot to discuss. We have a lot going on. A lot of people have said, oh, 105.3. Thank you, William. Appreciate that. 105.3. What we're going to do is we have Lanata Williams calling in, who is a renowned psychotherapist. She's been on television, radio. She's done so much, and I'm just so proud to have her. Avi, do you want to sit next to me? Yeah, come sit next to me. My beautiful niece, Aviana Owens, is here to join me. I said to her, you know, this is going to be a great opportunity and exposure for her to talk about the dating scene as far as her 20-year-old life is concerned. Thank you guys. By the way, let me just start by saying I am getting your emails. We are getting your inboxes, but I'm trying to be more proactive. My interns are trying very hard to keep up, but when I say email, please email, because quite honestly, we don't have enough resources to even check the inbox emails and everything else. So please email at dianasrealtalk@gmail.com. It's very important. I want to get back to all of you guys. I want to respond. And I also want those of you who want to come in and see me face to face, I want to be able to respond appropriately and accordingly. And today, like always, if you want to call in, it's 888-304-4401. We're going to be talking about relationships. And throughout the week, every week, I'm always getting new emails about experiences. And I cannot tell you enough how much I've learned through you guys of what's going on out there. Like this is the first time I heard about the term ghosting. Never even heard about that. And that's a term where the person doesn't call you back, doesn't text you back, just disappears. And I'm sure everybody has gone through that. Everybody has experienced that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Lanata Williams, who's going to be calling in, she and I had a very long conversation, and the conversation was about her body, woman's body, her choice to sleep with whoever she wants to sleep with, when she wants to sleep with them. To show our listeners are by the thousands, and I cannot explain how excited I am about this. This is incredible. Every day we get new people calling in. Every day I get new contacts wanting to get on the show. So for all of you that do want to get on the show, for all of you do want to meet, again, we're in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. We're not in the city anymore as we were in the other studio. I am in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. And we're on every Saturday from 1 to 3. Today is the exception to the rule because, you know, we have a couple of announcements to make. We have some additions that we need to talk about, and I'm super excited. We're going to get right into it. I think Lanata is going to be calling in at 1 o'clock. We're also going to have some very special men come in on the conversation to have a male's perspective. He'll introduce himself when he sits down, and we're going to talk about it. He's going to play devil advocate as far as, is it okay to sleep on the first date? Is it okay to have, you know, one-night stands? Is that okay? In today's society, you know, I call it a microwave society, and Terry's not here today. We talk about that all the time. We want everything done so quickly, and then by the time we do have it, we meet somebody, you find out what an asshole they are, and then it's like a big terrible circle, and then it's like, okay, here they are, they're great, they're consistent, they do everything you want them to do, and then once they get what they want, they turn around, they show their true colors, and then we start all over again. And that's a vicious cycle of dating. So we're here to kind of dispel that a little bit, because honestly, not everybody is of that mindset. Not everybody is thinking that way. People do want commitment. People do want to be with that one person that makes them feel happy and makes them feel special. And speak about and by the way, let me just apologize to you people who are married. I did not mean to offend you in any way. Being single is an incredible privilege. Being single is an opportunity to get to know your whole self before you commit yourself to somebody else who hopefully is as whole as you are. all I was saying is, let me just clarify, is when married people, what I was saying in today's society with technology, have a lot of influences, have a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Distractions and, you know, things like that. And I feel like it's a lot more difficult for you guys to even stay on track because of that. There's a lot of temptation out there. Whereas as a single person, we can just get on and go on with our lives and leave. But as married people, you have to work through it, even though there are distractions, even though there's cheating, even though these things do occur. And it's a real thing that's happening. And I don't want you guys to feel like I'm attacking you. I was married before. I was happily married. Now I'm happily divorced. So with that being said, I want everybody to know that I did not mean any offense. I meant to just educate and say, I congratulate you, applaud you for staying in there, hanging in there. It's not easy. I get it. It's not easy for single people, but it's harder for married people because of the distractions, right? So that's, I hope I clarified. We're going to now go into the first topic subject of, well, Anana's coming in at 1 o'clock. And this is one of her topics that she wanted to talk about as far as, I mean, she made it very blunt to me. She's against a lot of what Steve Harvey has to say as far as act like a lady and think like a man. She took offense to it because she said, you know, why would we want to think like men? And I thought, she's probably right, and I think where she was coming from, and I actually said, they're boring. Why do we want to think like them, right? And it was a joke. It was just a joke, right? It's a joke. You know, I don't want to think like a man, and I really don't. But I think Steve Harvey's book did have some pointers that we should, as women as a whole, pay attention to. I don't particularly care for some of the stereotypical things that he writes in his book, but you know, to each his own. And I think Lanata is going to blow up the mic with that when she calls in. She'll have her own discussion about that as far as a woman's freedom to choose if she wants to sleep on the first date. That's her body. She can do what she wants, etc. Right? Now, my niece is here, Aviana, and, you know, she and I spoke about a lot of things. You know, she's thankfully in a really nice relationship, a very giving, loving relationship. And I said to her, you know, one afternoon, I said, how is it? You know, how is it dating now in your 20s and your 30s? Is it just as difficult as it is for everybody else? And from our conversation, I think I got a little more nervous for them than I am for us. And I'll let her elaborate a little more on it. But I feel like in your 20s and your 30s, and somebody actually commented and inboxed me, emailed me and said, you know, Dana, and we don't take offense on the show. Trust me, this is a show where we don't have 20-year-olds on the show. You know, we're in a stage where the reason why we can do what we do at Dana's Real Talk here at Genesis Radio is because we have wisdom, right? So, and we try to help and provide that wisdom to you. And I get the email, the guy who emailed me said, there's a lot of old school guys on your show, and they don't really capture the experiences that a younger guy experiences. He says, I'm 30 years old, and the old school guys. And I thought, I understand where he's coming from, because being 30 years old in the year 2017 is very difficult. But listen up, young man. What you're going through is what everybody else on this show has been through. You're not going through anything different than any of them have been through. It's just your turn. And just because technology is a part of it, it just makes it a little more harder for you, because you have a lot more access to a lot of foolishness than we did, because a lot of the men here had to actually go out and be intelligent and witty and smart and actually have to know how to start a conversation. Now it's easy to inbox somebody and say, hey, what's up, what's going on, you know, I like you, etc., etc. So there's the only difference. Again, I am not trying to take away or discredit what you guys are going through, but you know, I just want you to know that they go through the same thing you go through. It's just a slightly little bit different because of technology and all the accessibility that there is going on today. So what I discussed with my niece, and we live together, so she's with me all the time, so she knows a lot about me more than most people.
Yeah.
The good, the bad, and the
more
ugly.
than I'd like to admit.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. And, you know, I've been a huge influence in her life since she was 12. And she is who she is. And a very intelligent, very smart, very strong young lady. She's the top of her class. She's in leadership in her college. And I feel, and I don't care what people think, I have a lot to do with that. I have a lot to do with that.
No, it's true, you do.
You know, and I feel like I want her to talk her whatever's on her mind, and I don't want anybody to take it away from her. I want her to be able to express herself openly, honestly. And when we started talking about dating, I realized by talking to her, a lot of the dating experiences she experienced, I was shocked that my little sweet niece had gone through some things that I've actually been through that I thought didn't exist anymore. But again, it doesn't matter what age you're in. We all experience the same things, except it might be a little different with technology. But like, what is your opinion now? What is your overall opinion dating in your 20s and 30s?
Just a little bit of background so that you know where I'm coming from.
Yes.
My most of my dating was a result of my vulnerability as a younger teen. So when I first started dating, quote unquote dating, I would say I was around 15 or 16 years old. And my first relationship was extremely dysfunctional just because I was not whole myself. I did not know exactly who I was, what I was getting into, what I wanted. And from there, I was toggling with the other person and trying to figure out what it was that they wanted and how can we work together and do we even like each other? Are we even supposed to be in a relationship? I think that was the hardest part because at the end, towards the end, things started falling apart simply because I was not sure of myself in that moment. I think that's important, especially for people my age. I'm 22 now. So those that are my age and dating now, first, be careful with the word dating in itself, especially get the process over with, especially when when you hit like, I think when you hit 25 and you're starting to get closer to 30, a lot of people, they say, oh, time's not on my side, you know, I have to rush, I have to get started, I have to get my life on track. And the first thing they think about is marriage, family. Which, by the way, everybody, is untrue. You don't have to rush to do anything. That's just your family, society, TV, radio that's making you feel like you need to rush. You do not have to rush. Yeah. So I would just say, just let it come to you. Don't go out there looking for something as you're gonna find it in the wrong place. And I mean, if it's meant to be for you, if that person's meant to be for you, then they will be for you. I know that in my very first serious relationship, I was with the guy for 3 years, and he ended up going outside of the relationship and had a baby with another woman. And so because of
my God,
because of my insecurity, because of my vulnerability, I stayed. I didn't know any better. I didn't know anything outside of that relationship. And so I continued, and I was like, oh, it's okay, it's fine, while damaging and burning myself inside, simply because I was forcing it to work. I was just trying to make it work just because it looked good on the outside. That's the thing. If you know it's not right, if it doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. And so you don't even question it, just get out of it and then, you know, start over. If it means that you have to start over from scratch, then so be it. Don't let time be what rules your life.
I agree completely. And actually what my niece is saying, and people are giving you the thumbs up. You could take what my niece just said and apply it to any age group. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be for the 20-year-olds today. Take your time. Know who you are. Be your whole. I've been saying this for weeks and months and years. Know who you are before you get into what we want to call a relationship. Yeah. And as she said, be very careful with the word dating.
Yeah.
Because dating now, I think people use that word so loosely.
They use it very loosely.
Very loosely, because you could be dating 8 people at the same time.
Right.
I remember when dating meant exclusive. Right. I remember that. Right. And there was something that Aviana said that is so important, is because she was dealing with her own vulnerabilities and insecurities, she allowed certain things to happen to herself. And I think we all do that. You know, I think that depending upon where you are in your life, in the stage in your life, how you're feeling about yourself, is who you will attract in your life. I really do.
So let me just chime in really quickly. First of all, I want to give a shout out to my man TP Square.
TP Square, we miss you.
You know what I'm saying? Your man Ace is in the building.
Yes.
With the infamous Diana Bellamy. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the entire crew, to Diana's Real Talk World. But check this out. I need to say this, man, because a lot of people overlook one aspect when they're trying to chime into the dating situation. If you come across somebody and they seem cool, they seem like it's a good fit, you have to be very careful of what their triggers are. Right. What their issues are. Because
red flags is what I call
absolutely,
them.
Absolutely, because one thing you have to be aware of is hurt people hurt people.
That's right.
Yes.
And they may come across, very fun-loving or healthy or amiable and ready to acquiesce to what you think your picture of a so-called relationship looks like. But one point that Diana made, you don't have to rush.
Right.
I don't care what kind of pressures. I don't care what it looks like. Sometimes the grass looks greener on the other side of the fence.
Correct. Absolutely.
But you got to think about what makes that grass green.
Right. There you go. What
right?
What makes it glisten, right? Exactly.
That fertilizer ain't too sexy.
That's it. It's not.
Right? It
really
don't smell
isn't.
sexy. It don't look sexy.
No.
So don't always think that just because it looks a certain way and my man or shorty or whatever it is, male, female, they coming across trying to make it look or feel good, that it's going to be good. Don't rush.
Agree. I feel, as far as when dating is concerned, personally, I feel I want to get to know you a little better.
Absolutely.
I need to understand you a little more so we can have a conversation in order for me to even start vibing with you. For me to even hang out and be seen and go out there and for me to, I don't want to use the word waste, but for me to invest my time, I have to get to know you better. I don't want to just go into it and just be like, okay, after the third date, I'm with you. We don't do that.
So what I've tend to understand is that, I don't want to hijack because I'm not. I'm just,
no, absolutely.
To the cipher.
Yeah.
A lot of people have this immediate gratification need that drives
microwave society,
right?
A microwave society.
So I want it now. We got to do it now. Yep. If it don't happen tomorrow, something's wrong. Yes. Blah 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 blah. That immediate gratification has to be tamped down sometimes.
I agree.
You can go hard, jump out the window, and we're going to talk about that in a minute.
We're going to talk about that.
Jump out the
we have
window,
a lot to talk about. Right, exactly.
But it may not be the best decision at that time.
Well, also, I think you're 1,000% correct in that. Also, as somebody like me, and I always like to bring it back to reality and bring it back to who I am, because people are like, Downy, you talk a lot, but you don't talk about yourself. So we're going to stop that. Today we're going to stop that. I will give as many personal examples as I can. If you have questions for me, I don't have a problem with explaining or telling you my side of it, because in order for me to teach, I have to share, right? So the other day I woke up, and this is not a lie, I woke up, and I think only because of who I am and what I do, a lot of men feel like they have this idea of who I am, of the perfect wife. I'm not perfect anything. I'm not perfect anybody.
No one is.
No one is. So with that being said, I woke up and my text message said, "Will you marry me?" And I got 3 different marriage proposals, and Avi knows this is true. Like, so I'll show her, and she's so annoyed, and she's like, "I don't understand why everybody wants to marry you." And I said, if they only lived with me, they would have a different view of marrying me, because it's one thing to see it. The grass is greener on the other side. What's glistening is not always glistening. Right? So, she and I laugh about this all the time. To wake up to 3 different marriage proposals and the person has never even met you. Yeah. That just shows you the society that we're in.
It's an immediate gratification.
There you go.
Also, everyone's just caught up on face value.
Agree.
Also.
Agree. I agree.
If they see your picture on the gram and you shutting the gram down because you got your hottest outfit on and you at the latest party,
Right,
and
right.
you taking a picture with Big Daddy Kane or Steve Harvey or the latest celebrity, they think that's really what it is.
It's not what
And
it
it's
is.
not.
People, the gram is a bunch of phony. Well, I'm not going to say everybody is, but I will tell you the gram is a hideout.
Yes.
It's the biggest hideout in the world. You can have $20 in your pocket and wear one Gucci belt and don't
Right.
even have to be real.
Right.
And all of a sudden,
Everybody's
everybody's
turned up.
jumping on you. Listen, guys, for you guys out there, I hate to put this to you, but I'm going to tell you now. A lot of the women that you see on social media, they're not what you think they
not.
are.
Trust
As a
me.
matter of fact, unfortunately, I'm a women's advocate. I'm all for women. And Avi and I know we talk about this all the time. The fronting that's going on in social media
Absolutely.
is at its all-time high.
Yes.
I have clients where I go to their homes and these women and men are driving, six-figure vehicles and walk around, and you got to go in their homes and it's infested with roaches.
Right.
They don't even have doors on their bathrooms.
Real talk.
And this is real. This is not even this is not make believe. I have real clients that I'm trying to help them out to separate what real is and what perception is.
Right.
And that's dating today.
Yeah.
You guys date off of what you see, right?
No one's
and not
taking the
really
time.
taking the time to understand what it really is.
Right.
And another thing is that pisses me off is
What pisses you off? Come on
everything
with it.
pisses me off. Right? Everything pisses me off. I'm sorry. I'm just in one of those moods today. I hate when people judge other people who want to live a free life.
Yes.
Right? So there was a gentleman that came
Oh, my
on that
goodness.
called last week about if he comes up to a woman and says, hey, I like you, I want to sleep with you. Yeah, yes, is it offensive? Absolutely, it's offensive and it's inappropriate to say. However, that's his experience. So if you see a woman dancing on a pole, that's her experience. You don't know if she has to pay her way through college to get to the next level. You don't know if she's got 4 kids at the house where she needs immediate money to pay for that. Judging is something that will get us all as a society, as a people, against one another.
Right.
Don't do it. It's not even worth it. It's if somebody's living their life and that's the way they know that's their experience, that's not you. It has nothing to do with your life.
And they're not obligated to live their life according to
To what your standards are.
Right.
Exactly.
They're not obligated.
Agreed. And I try to push this all the time. I have an event tonight, and it's an all women's event that I was booked for, and I'm excited about it. But I'm almost to the point where I don't even want to go in there nice anymore. I want to go in there and I want to storm in there and I want to say, wake up. Like, wake your asses up.
Right.
You chicks are lost.
Right.
You feel like this guy is gonna come on his horse and his armor and rescue your ass. No one is going to rescue you.
What a lot of people fail to realize is that, and please chime in.
Yeah, Avi, please
No,
chime
I'm
in.
listening. I'm
What,
observing.
what a lot of people fail to realize is 9 times out of 10, we're all the same. Right?
Absolutely.
So the same battles, for the most part, that you may have had challenges with, I've had similar
Exactly.
challenges. And someone else has had similar challenges.
Right.
And if not, they had some other challenge. Right?
Especially as when you get older in dating.
Right. Oh,
We're faced
absolutely.
with so many other
Yes,
challenges,
yes,
right? On top
yes.
of it, like in your 20s, yeah, there are real challenges.
Yes.
There are. But I think more so it's knowing who you are.
Learning
it's
yourself,
learning yourself
right,
and
right,
also,
and what
like
you
Avi
want,
said,
yeah.
trying to bring the other person into your life and also trying to learn yourself.
Right.
And we're doing it as well.
Right.
But now we got a water bill and a light
Right.
bill and an electric
Exactly.
bill. And we're
Exactly.
still dealing with who raised you, which I
Right.
talk about all the time. Thank you, TK Kirkland, for that. We're always battling that. I prefer to deal with somebody and date somebody who had similar challenges as I have.
Right.
I prefer to speak the same language as the person I'm dealing with and
Right.
deal with those challenges
Right.
because we can help each other out. Listen.
Exactly.
You grew up this way, I grew up this way. Are we perfect? No, but at least we speak the same language.
Right.
Right?
We look at the world similarly.
That's it.
Right?
Exactly.
And we're going to face these challenges with an exchange that's beneficial to both of us.
Right. Where you come into problems, and this is for male and female, where you come into problems, most men, they choose their mates by the way they look. right?
That's very true.
They choose their mates by the way they look.
9 times out of 10.
Right? And that's where the problems come in, right? Most of the problems.
Right.
Because then they realize, oh my God, I'm constantly switching women. They're trying to understand why this beautiful woman doesn't work. And then this other beautiful woman doesn't work. And then oftentimes, there's this one guy in particular I'm thinking about. I'm not going to say his name, but he's on, and I see you and I love you, but I got to talk about you. Some guy just wrote, Jesus is going to rescue us. Jesus better rescue us because we all need Jesus.
Yeah.
We all need Jesus in this
Talk about it.
in this, because this is crazy.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that in a second, because
Right.
Jesus and the Word is the foundation of how we're going to succeed anyway.
But we'll get to that.
But we'll get to that. But this guy only dates beautiful women. Only. And they have to have a certain body type. It's got to be like this.
Okay.
Right? So he comes to my Thanksgiving every year with this new woman. And we all know this girl's not going to be there
Now I
next
want
year.
to know who you're talking about.
I'll tell you later. But I can't say his name because he's listening. He's going to get upset with me, and he's going to tell my mother. And I don't want anybody to tell my mother on me. Right? So he comes in every year with this new woman.
Right.
And so finally, I said to him, dude, you got to, figure this out. You're not getting any younger. I tease him all the time. He goes, Dana, I don't know what it is. I thought beautiful women were supposed to be perfect.
Yeah. See? Yeah. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Hello?
Right.
Just because you were born with a beautiful body and nice eyelashes, a nice booty, and some nice hair does not mean you're perfect. And I got people in the background shaking their heads like,
Right.
I have seen some of the most beautiful men and women. I actually went on a date with one of the most beautiful men. I think I told you about him. Mm-hmm. He probably was the dumbest person, and I hate to say the word dumb.
Thank you.
But his brain, he lacked thinking process.
I'm thanking you because I wanted to say something
I couldn't believe it.
really quickly. And I'm not stereotyping anyone.
No, we're not stereotyping.
Right.
Beautiful women
But there
are smart
are
too.
beautiful women and beautiful men, right?
Right.
But a lot of these beautiful people have preoccupations that detract from their beauty.
Give me an example.
Um,
So what he said was some beautiful people have preoccupations that distract them from being beautiful. I'm trying to understand what that means.
right. So there may be a predisposition to having only a certain type of dinner or going to a certain type of restaurant where you can really experience life on other levels and learn and grow from that individual that you're interacting with.
Right.
So I've had a situation where someone asked me to go on a date, and I acquiesced. I decided to go on a date, but they decided where they wanted me to take them.
Wait, if she asked you on a date, first of all, women,
Right.
if you ask a man out on a date,
Right.
you better make sure you take your wallet with you. You're asking him on a date. You're going to pay for that date. Men, I feel for you. Men work very hard to get us on a date. We work hard because we want to look good for them, but it takes a lot of courage for a man to go to a woman and say, I want to have dinner with you. Because especially today, nowadays, women are mean. Some women are mean.
So I'm glad
right,
you
Alvin?
said that, because
Me.
if I was to say that, then I would probably be like a woman hater.
You're not a
or
woman hater.
I would be the guy who probably got turned down too many times, so he doesn't know how to handle it.
If a
right?
woman invites
If
you
I
out
was
for
to say
dinner,
that, so
she's
that
going to
would
pay
be
for
the
it.
assumption,
Right.
right? But I'm glad you said that, because that would be like a stamp. That would be a qualifying statement for you to say that to the women.
Absolutely.
Because they're going to listen to you and they need to learn.
Right.
Right?
Right.
We all need to learn.
And
from
by the
each
way,
other.
ladies, it is okay to ask a man out for dinner.
Yes.
It is okay to
Yes.
do that. I know a lot of old school people are like, no, let a man be a man. A man is still being a man.
Absolutely.
Right? A man is still being a man. And I wonder who the hell made guidelines for what a man is supposed to be and what a woman is supposed to be.
Yeah.
The only guideline that I follow is the word. Right? That's the guideline.
Right.
But you guys have to also understand we are in a society, we're not in heaven. We're not in heaven. the rules have changed.
Right.
Right? So if you like a man, I don't think there's anything wrong with asking him out. I mean, I think I did it maybe one time and I had a great time. Right? I think.
So what I would really love to do is to challenge the audience, the women in the audience, to take a week and just do a little role reversal, and if you're single,
like
and if
that.
you're not committed in a loving, nurturing relationship, right? Take a minute and say, listen, how you doing today, sir? You look really nice.
You know what? I'm going to pose that
how are
same
you
challenge
today, sir?
to my audience.
You know what? I'd like to have coffee or go out with you this afternoon or this evening and just see how that feels. Because I think a lot of women don't realize how that feels from the male perspective.
Well, that's only because women in general have not been taught to do that. We were not taught to go up to a man and say, hey, I like your tie, and then start talking about certain things, or I like this, compliment, and then go into a conversation and say, I'd like to have lunch with you, or breakfast, or coffee with you. We were not taught that. We were taught to be subservient and stand behind the lines and let a man lead.
Right.
Men should lead.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Men should lead. I'm not giving you the permission not to lead.
Right.
I'm giving women permission to step up to the plate. You want to be women of the new century. You want to be feminists. You want to be strong. You want to have careers. You want to have this. You want to go march. Fine. If you want to do that, also be a woman that says, you know what? Be assertive, have confidence, and ask the man out. So I challenge my audience as well. Listen, women, if you know somebody, if you see somebody that you like, a man that you like, I challenge you for the next 2 weeks, not a week, 2 weeks. Ask him out. Ask him out. And now if it doesn't work out, that's okay too, but you've done it. Like you said, we have to understand as women what it feels like as well.
And that's the same for men too, because we're not beating the women up. This is an equal opportunity learning session.
Absolutely,
You know
yeah.
so,
I mean, there's so many men out here that are just so scared and nervous, and it makes me sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
Come on.
I think one thing, if I can add.
Absolutely.
Well, I think what you're saying makes so much sense, because maybe some women feel like they're too good to ask a man.
That's another thing. Some women do feel
say,
that way.
oh, no, I don't need to go to a man. Like, a man's always going to come to me.
That's a preoccupation, right?
There's a preoccupation. I have some friends that are like that, unfortunately, who feel like they're too good to ask anybody out because they're too pretty or they're too smart or whatever.
When you place those kinds of limits on yourself, you're doing yourself
a disservice. Absolutely.
Because just because you go out on a date with somebody, it doesn't mean you're going to sleep with them. It doesn't mean that you have the intent to be with them for the long haul. Do we have a question?
That is my boyfriend's brother. He says that's because, well, the reason why women feel like they're too good is because when men do it, they're perceived as being thirsty. So when a man goes out of his way... Guys, is that
true? Is that true? If a guy goes out of his way, is he perceived as being thirsty?
When you push, and like, for example, like when the guys... when messages come in from guys and they say, oh, I want to go out with you, I want to marry you, those kinds of things. The reason why I feel like the reason why they're perceived as thirsty or maybe just out of their mind is because they don't know who you are at all. I think if they know who you are and if they
great point,
dug a little bit into who your mind, you can't be considered thirsty if you're getting to know that person, if you're being if you're showing almost a level of disrespect.
Oh yeah.
By coming out of your mouth and saying, "Oh, I want to marry you," and you have no idea who I am.
That's where I have a problem.
That's kind of
that to me is
that's
off.
Thirsty.
Yeah, I could actually say that's thirsty. When you don't know somebody, or you see the perception of them and you want to marry them.
Right.
But what Aviana said makes a lot of sense. When you're trying to get to know somebody, it's not thirsty; it's interest.
Right.
There's a difference, and there's a lot of people, both men and women, who use the word thirsty too loosely, and that's why we're so messed up now. This is not thirsty. This is trying to get to know somebody.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of people out here in this microwave thought process. Everything has to be fast. I meet you we have sex. We have to figure it out after that, and then everything blows up in your face, and then you're going back to square one, and that's where diseases are spread. That's where all the misunderstandings are, and then there's this hatred that occurs. And for instance, like you mentioned, when there's this vicious cycle, when you finally do go up to a woman, when a man finally decides, you know what, let me go up to this woman and tell her she looks nice and I want to go out with her, she has already been through so many vicious cycles. By the time you get to her,
she's hardened.
She's already bitter and hardened, and she's like, no. That's why you as a man, and I'm not picking on you guys, but you as a man, you guys really need to choose very wisely and carefully how you approach a woman. Yes. Because quite frankly, I'm not here to pacify women's attitudes, but I'm here to be truthful and let you know that women as a whole, we've been through a lot, and we continuously go through a lot based on the struggle of our men. So we're a byproduct of what our men go through and how they treat us. So the next time you think about approaching a woman, especially if you think the woman has some sense to her and some class to her, approach her in a way where you would want somebody to approach your mother, your niece, your cousin, your sister. Approach them in that manner. You might get a different result. When you are following the foolishness that's out here, hey babe, nice ass, if you think that that's going to turn somebody on, and especially, again, I say a woman of sense, you are open to becoming a target.
Now, ladies, if you say that to a guy you see next week,
that's another thing. It might work. That's the problem. That's the problem. If you say it to a man, that might work. That's the problem with this world. It's a double standard, right?
Yeah,
because again, let's keep it real. Men think on a very sexual level.
Yes.
Always. And I don't care what anybody says. I see all the comments coming up. Thank you. Men think on a sexual level. And if you disagree with me, call me. Let's go toe-to-toe. 888-304-4401. When a man comes up to you, he wants something. I don't care who you are. And for my listeners who are in their 20s and 30s, women, girls, when a boy comes up to you, he wants something. Right? You have to discern how you're going to handle that situation. Right? Do you, I mean, even the good guys that really do want to get to know you, men are very visual. Men see something, they like it, they're going to go for it. Most men will go for it. And even in the dating scene at your age group, they're far more bold now in your age group than I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
And they say things that I would never accept coming to me as a grown woman. Men in my age group are a lot more calculating because they've learned. They've learned how to sift through. And they've learned that if I do this to the first 5 women and it doesn't work, it's going to work for the 6th woman. And if it works for 1 out of the 6, then let me try, you won. Yeah. And let me try to continue to do that.
Right.
Understand?
So for some men, it's a numbers game.
It is. It is a numbers game.
They'll say, hey, baby, how you doing? Nice ass. And it may not work 7 times, but it may work the 8th and the 9th time.
Right.
And it may not work the 10th and the 11th time. So for some men, it's a numbers game. They don't care. Some men, they do care. Right. So
but even the men that do care,
there's no stereotype. There's no blanket assertion for what men do, because we're all different, even though we're similar.
You're all different. Men are all different. But I want somebody to challenge me. I need you to prove to me that you're not visual and you're not sexual. I need you to prove that to me. Unless you're impotent. I don't know about that one. Unless you're exactly. I want somebody to challenge me.
It's impossible.
It's impossible. Men
even if they're not visual, they definitely sexual.
There you go. There you go. And a lot of times, men will do what they got to do to get it, and they will go the extra mile. And I am a walking, talking advocate for that. Yeah. They will do anything. So, but women are more okay. Women are a lot more. We're more thought processed. We think too much, and that's another thing. Like, we're going to take a break, but when I come back, I need to talk about that because
Let's talk about women. Yeah.
let's talk about women because women, you're getting on my nerves. To be honest with you, you're getting on my nerves. You're boring the shit out of me, and we need to talk about this because, quite frankly, I love you. I'm an advocate. I'll do anything for you, but I need you to start changing your mindset, honestly, because, again, it's very difficult for a man to change his mindset because based on what they were raised at as boys. We as women have a lot to think about, a lot to learn, and I'm here to educate. My niece is here to educate the younger crowd that's on her phone. We're going to, we're going to take a break. We're going to take a little break. Join us back, and if I've offended you, I apologize, but that's what Diana's Real Talk is about, and I apologize if I have. If I have, let's talk about it. We'll come to a middle ground or not. Again, it's 888-304-4401. Talk to you soon.